This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening news show. Broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Thursday, July 28th, 2022, and it's 8 p.m. We are live and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Tonight, we bring you a special lesbian edition of Queer News Tonight. UCLA's Williams Institute has quantified the substantial number of women who identify as lesbian or bisexual. Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network are dedicating substantial resources from our nonprofit 501c3 media platform to increase the visibility of the women in our LGBTQ plus community. We proudly fly the lesbian flag tonight and welcome you to this special news broadcast.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, FayWhat. This evening, we bring you the news of and perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see and hear it.
Happening Out Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television and radio model of PBS and NPR, but for our LGBTQ community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America. Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 36 years of LGBTQ plus experience and television news, talk, and entertainment shows. Support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
So let's begin. I am so excited. Let's welcome Karen Costello-Wilder. This Michigan native studied communications at Michigan State University. Professionally, she has been focused on customer experience, both in managing the Costello family construction business and the restaurant industry. Karen moved to Miami 9 years ago and has been a supporter of the Aqua Foundation for Women since its inception, joining the board in 2017. As current board chair, she's excited about Aqua's future and opportunities to serve the LGBTQ plus community of South Florida. Karen is committed to kindness. She is like one of the kindest people like on earth and human connection towards every person she meets. She considers that her superpower, and I have to agree. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, FayWhat.
How are you,
Let's
Mama?
welcome anchor Lexi Goza, chair of the Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber's Women's Empowerment Council, board member of the Aqua Foundation for Women. She is also the founder and former president of PFLAG Melbourne and former president of Space Coast Pride. She owns a State Farm insurance agency in downtown Miami, is certified as an LGBTQ plus business enterprise by the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. Good evening, Lexi.
Good evening. Thank you so much for that intro, Karen. I'm super excited to be sitting at this powerhouse table of all of these trailblazing women.
Yeah.
So next, let's welcome anchor Rosemary Wilder.
Wait. What happened to what we're doing this weekend? I thought we were going to party and talk about the prom. What the hell?
I forgot.
I didn't get to go to my prom as a lesbian. Talk about it.
I know.
There's a prom this week?
Yes, my agency is actually the rainbow sponsor of the first annual Girls, Gays, and Theys prom, which is happening at the Arsht Performing Arts Center on Saturday, July 30th. And we are doing it up right. I have dinner reservations at a hugely famous restaurant in Midtown. I have a hair appointment, nail appointments. I got a dress and a suit. I am so excited. And they're showing my promposal video.
When you think of extra, you think Lexi Goza.
Especially
true.
now with Kim.
Very true. So guys, this is an opportunity for all of our community and our allies to get together and go to prom because they never got to authentically or never got to at all. So like in the case of my girlfriend, who I surprised, you can see on the video, with a promposal. Everybody thought I proposed marriage. We're lesbians, but not those lesbians, okay? So no U-Haul, right? But I did ask her to prom during the video, and she was super surprised. Yes? She did say yes. You can see we're making out on the video.
I asked my wife to go to prom with me, and she says, I'll let you know.
Sounds like
True
my wife.
story, too.
She probably doesn't want to get all dressed up and everything.
Well, you will see her there on Saturday. She will be dressed up, and I'm bringing my own crown just to let everybody know.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. So next, let's welcome trailblazer and anchor Rosemary Wilder. Rosemary is a preeminent appellate attorney with the Coral Gables firm of Marlowe Adler. Rosemary has been a gay activist for over 35 years, y'all. Ooh. She is the co-founder of SAVE, the Gay and Lesbians Lawyers Association, known as GALA, and served 2 terms as the president of the ACLU of Florida during the time that marriage equality was passed in Florida. She is the recipient of the National Pioneer Award from SAGE. Welcome, Rosemary.
Rosemary, hold up one second, Rosemary. Your last name is Wilder. Parents' last name is... That's your wife!
Yes!
Oh my goodness! Yeah. I'm in a Wilder sandwich.
You are.
Lucky you.
Lucky you, exactly.
It's lucky me. All right, Rosemary, you may proceed.
All right.
Let's welcome Cindy Brown, a long time friend of mine. Mm-hmm. She is an icon in the LGBTQ plus community. She was an early organizer of the Miami AIDS Walk, the White Party for Care Resource, and other major events. She has served as the executive director of Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber Foundation and LGBTQ Visitor Center. She is the founding executive director of Miami Beach Pride and currently serves as the program manager for Jewish Community Services, LGBTQ Lambda Living Program for LGBT seniors. Good evening, my darling Cindy.
I can't tell you how much I enjoyed being introduced by Rosemary. However, Rosemary Wilder calling me an icon, Rosemary's the icon at this table.
We're not worthy. We're not, honestly, like me and Lexi are like, we're not worthy.
Yeah, for real.
I have to do that every night.
Oh, so that's foreplay in the wild. I get it.
Yeah, well, you know, Rosemary is a star in this community.
Yes.
And
thank you.
I picked her out of a room of 500 people and made her mine, and I lived in Michigan. I was like, what's wrong with the lesbians in this town?
I knew them both before they knew each other.
Yes.
I've known Cindy longer than Rosemary.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
I always say Cindy's the first woman in Miami I ever loved.
Aww.
Yeah. Then came you, Rosemary.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's always fun when we have couples on the panel because they're not always the nicest to each other. So I can't wait to see what happens on the show.
We'll see. Well, tonight we have a powerhouse of lesbian voices. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, the Lesbian edition. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines for Thursday, July 28th.
All right, girls, let's get ready because this story is a doozy. Let's begin by queering up politics. Trump, you remember him, the most gay supporting president ever, says LGBTQ plus people are sickos and grooming kindergartners. Donald Trump was touted by Republicans as the most LGBTQ plus friendly president ever, trying to point out the many protections for the community he removed or the support systems like the LGBTQ plus resource page on the White House website that he got rid of. Did nothing to change the minds of his fanatics, of course. At a speech yesterday at the America First Policy Institute's first annual conference, he attacked the LGBTQ plus community as, quote, sickos trying to teach kindergartners sexual content, end quote. An attack commonly used by supporters of Florida's Don't Say Gay law on a practice that has never happened. He attacked puberty blockers while also saying that he has no clue what they are, and attacked transgender athletes, saying that, quote, we should not allow men to play in women's sports. And
federal, state, and local governments should aggressively enforce existing statutes to stop the perverted sexualization of minor children. You have the statutes. The society that refuses to protect its children is a society that soon will not be able to protect anybody. This is a hallmark of cultural and social decay against which we should fight back very hard and very soon. We don't have time to wait years to do this. The sickos who are pushing sexual content in kindergartens or providing puberty blockers to young children who have no idea what a puberty blocker is. Neither do I, by the way. Neither do most of the people in the audience as you smile. Let's just say they're not good, are not just engaged in acts of depravity. In many cases, they are breaking the law, and they should be held fully accountable. And by the way, we should not allow men to play in women's sports.
I missed that those couple of months after Biden took office that we didn't hear anything from Trump, that it was like, who, Trump, who?
Yeah.
Ladies, what do you think about this?
Well, I was rolling my eyes so hard they almost got stuck. This guy is an idiot. He has no idea what he's talking about. Most of the perverts that he's referring to are straight men who, you know, prey on children. The gay community does not. It's disgusting, and it just makes me sick to my stomach because we've heard these same things for decades, and it's just not true.
Rosemary, what do you think?
I think it's a sad commentary on our political community when the man running for president admits he doesn't know what he's talking about, but he wants you to vote for him anyway.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
I don't know what this is, but whatever it is, it's bad.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's that kind of just blanket rhetoric that appeals for some reason to the right-wing political supporters. We don't know what it is, but because we don't know what it is, it's got to be bad and we got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's really the bottom line to what he's saying. I don't know what this is, but I know we got to get rid of it. We got to
Because
stop
it's
it.
bad.
We got to
I
stop
don't know
it.
about it. It must be bad.
And you don't need to know what it is.
Yeah.
And you don't need to know what it is because I'm telling you.
Right.
I'm going to get rid of it for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about it.
You know, there was, I can't remember who I was talking to, but there's this kind of thing in fundamental Christian churches where they say, God said it, I believe it, and that settles it.
Mm,
And what they mean is, my pastor said it,
right.
Yeah.
I believe it,
Yeah.
and
And
that
that's it.
settles it.
Yes.
They have no interest in doing any research on their own. They will kick their children out of their home because their pastor told them to.
And disown them and
I
everything.
mean,
yeah.
it's really disgusting, and that was really a really gut punching story to listen to.
Well, I'm with Faye, man. I'm so sad that we're seeing him have this platform again. I can remember during his presidency, I watched a news broadcast. I don't remember who did it, but it was so well done, and it was the first time that I had heard anything about an Overton window. Are you familiar with this? So the Overton window is basically like the window of acceptable behavior, right? And so when you have somebody like Trump who does and says things that are just freaking outlandish, it moves the Overton window.
Right.
And so people begin to accept things that in the past we would have been like, there's no way anybody would get up in front of people and say something
say
like
that.
that. Like what you were saying.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but it's bad. Right? Like, how is that acceptable for someone who's running for president or has been president? It's just really sad, and I'm not looking forward to the campaign.
He made it okay to bully. He made it
Yeah,
okay to
absolutely.
hate.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not that it was a new thought that people just automatically became racist
They just
or
came
became
out
that
under
way.
their rock.
But they were like, oh, we can because the president does. So
Right,
the
he
president
emboldened them.
Yeah, so if my own president's making fun of Asian Americans, I can too. I can call it the Chinese flu and go on because there was no marginalized community that he didn't go after in
so
some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why it always kills me when I think of these Latinos who vote for Trump. He thinks you're Mexican.
Yeah.
He does not even care about you.
Right.
And you are voting for this demon.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what used to happen at our family company. You know, we own a sand and gravel company and deliver truck drivers. And my dad, who always remained a Canadian citizen, never had the opportunity to vote in this country, but he would just have a fit with our drivers because, you know, when they initially voted for W, you know, and we were like, everyone had extra money during the Clinton years and all that stuff. And my dad would just sit them down in the morning before they went out to deliver their loads and said, trying to get them to understand that they were voting against their own personal interests.
Yeah.
Trump doesn't give a shit about any of these people.
No.
Right.
No one.
No.
You know, and they're willing to do I mean, storm the Capitol
horrible thing.
for him.
Yeah.
For
Go to jail for
example.
him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not going to pay your bail.
No.
Nope.
So you know, ladies, he's going to run.
Oh, there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
question.
Does
But
he have
I
a? Do you
just-
girls think that he has a chance to
He
win?
has no way to get, he will not get the Republican nomination. Too many Republicans are like, he's.
Yeah,
so
but
bad
who's
for
the other
party.
candidate? Guess who the other guy is? The same
DeSantis.
guy coming
DeSantis.
after our trans kids, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's at this point, there is no lesser of two evils.
When there's
right?
a Trump
Like,
involved, the word never doesn't exist.
No, that's
Yeah.
So
true.
you're saying he's never going to get
Yeah, I guess who
nominated?
thought he was going to get.
I don't believe
Listen,
that.
I
said
woke
this
up the
since
morning
day
that he
one.
got elected. I was like, somebody is punking us. Like,
Yeah.
is it April Fool's Day? I'm
Yeah.
not kidding. I was so shocked.
I have said since day one, the person most surprised in the world that
Was him.
Trump was elected was him.
Yeah.
And actually,
No, seriously.
Yeah.
I heard he was furious that he got elected because he didn't want to be president. He just wanted all this publicity
Right.
to help his companies
To help
make
his
more
career.
money.
Yeah.
And then he got elected, and then he could do whatever he. I mean,
Look.
he
He did his damage, honey.
Yeah.
Okay, he's
He
been
could
out of
not-
office now how long, and we're still cleaning up the garbage of what he's done.
But he has.
But am I
like,
the only one that's more afraid of DeSantis than Trump? Because I'm way more
DeSantis
afraid of
is younger.
DeSantis than
Same.
and
he's worse.
DeSantis is actually smart.
yeah,
Okay?
he's
Yeah.
smart and he's
Trump can't
younger.
organize his
Dangerous.
thoughts to
So
make
it's
things happen
dangerous.
like DeSantis, so he's way more dangerous.
Yeah,
Way
way
more.
more.
Yeah, I agree.
Rosemary and I can say that we are part of a family that just took another Trump building down. Our daughter is an attorney also, and her private equity firm bought the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C.
And
Yes,
took the name
And they flew up there that night on a private jet and took the word Trump
Off the
down.
building.
I love it. Now it just says
Minute.
rump. It says rump hotel. I'd rather
They,
rump hotel.
they
all
turned
day.
the M over for W for Suzanne. So it was super cool. So one less Trump thing in the world.
Yes.
Oh, well,
Wow.
thank you. Thank you to
That's
the
good
Wilder
news.
clan for doing your
Right?
part. Wow. So this
We
won't-
try.
This definitely won't be the last time that we'll be talking about Trump attacking our community. So it's not the first. It won't be the last. And stay tuned to Queer News Tonight for more on this developing story. Miss Karen?
Next, let's queer up LGBTQ plus civil rights. If abortion rights are gay rights, lesbians wonder if gay men get it. The 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, Section 1, reads in part, quote, "No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." That phrase has been debated by legal experts for nearly the entire history of U.S. politics. One interpretation of that statement is the concept of substantive due process. That concept references the Ninth Amendment's suggestion that the innate rights of citizens expand beyond those written into the Constitution to allow courts to protect rights not directly outlined. This has been used to decide rights like freedom of contract and the right to privacy that are not specifically outlined. It is the opposition to the concept of substantive due process that was used in the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Other cases that were ruled on provide protections for minimum wages, access to contraception, interracial marriage, and same-sex marriage. Justice Clarence Thomas, Lord help us, has already signaled a desire by the Supreme Court to revisit the cases that grant these rights, putting marriages and even the legality of non-procreative sex at risk. While Roe's overturn as a 50-year settled right directly affects a woman's right to make health choices, the gay community, and specifically gay men, our brothers, may have been slow in understanding the intersection of the 14th Amendment affecting Roe Obergefell for marriage or sodomy in Lawrence v. Texas.
You know, the problem is that people don't appreciate that Roe v. Wade recognized what was called a right to privacy, and that's what Roe is based on. That right to privacy isn't expressly written in the Constitution. So that was the importance of that decision, because it said inherent in the 14th Amendment in protecting you is a right to privacy. That right to privacy was the same reason that in Lawrence versus Texas, 2 men having sex in their own bedroom in their own house were arrested for having sodomy. And that fortunately were smart enough to sue and overturn the sodomy law in Texas. But all that goes away if there's no right to privacy.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, is not written. It's in substantive law, which unfortunately is the United States Supreme Court. And so they can drop that right of privacy, which is what they did in Roe v. Wade and many, many other decisions.
Wow.
And I think that, you know, gay men haven't necessarily made that connection. They see abortion, they don't think it affects them, but it does affect them because it's all about the right to privacy. So, you know, gay men can be our strong allies.
Yeah.
But they have to be willing to understand and see how, you know, women's rights are human rights. You know, women's rights affect men too, even gay men.
Of course.
But they can't see it.
So I would say that for me personally, I didn't really understand the intersectionality of this issue either, right? So I am older and I have 2 adult children. And after I had 2 children, I was done. I had the surgery so I wouldn't get pregnant again. That was my choice and I made that choice, right? Probably partially in part due to the right of privacy, right? Like I was able to make that decision to not have any more children. And so to me, I'm like, well, you know, I'm not going to need an abortion. And I could see how gay men are like, well, I won't need an abortion. And but I think too, like the other piece of it is just beyond the right of privacy, right? We talk about how our families, if they love us, shouldn't vote against us, right? With regard to gay marriage and everything else. And so I think that translates.
Completely.
Right. So, but I will say that I was ignorant, and maybe in the early days I might have reacted in a way that was not inclusive of gay men because, you know, maybe it's not their issue. But now that I've heard the story, and I thank you, Rosemary, for that, you know, shining that light on the right of privacy, because I don't think I would have picked up on that right away.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think this is a learning curve for all of us. And I think that it takes great power to say that I am still learning. I am still evolving. I will say that I am surprised a bit, and I don't know why I'm so surprised, but I'm really surprised that the boys aren't there with us. It would break my heart when Roe versus Wade was overturned and I would hear from close boys that are family to me, that has nothing to do with me. And I would be sitting right next to them.
Right.
And they would have no clue. Like, no, but, and it's just not one person, Cindy. This happened repeatedly, you know, but I'm also learning too. You know, I'm out there protesting. I'm out there, you know, in Wynwood, in Miami, wherever I can, with a bullhorn screaming for women's rights and for reproductive rights. But I was saying women's rights. Then I had to check myself because there are non-binary folks, there are trans men that could also get pregnant.
Right.
So I had to school FayWhat in that, and it was folks that can get pregnant,
right?
You know, so so I'm trying to cut the boys a little bit of slack because it's a learning curve. But I mean, it wasn't until Clarence Thomas said that they were like all of a sudden like, oh shit, they might come after us too. Right? Come on.
Yeah,
boys.
they don't understand.
Come on. And just like you said, Lexi, if you love us, you should be there right next to us. At every rally that I'm at, it's all women and like 4 boys. And I constantly post, I'm going to go march. I want to see you boys with me. So what's that quote around, you know, they came for so-and-so and I was quiet and
came for them, and then they came for me and there was nobody left.
Nobody left to speak up for me, right? And so the other thing I would say too is, hey, I kind of feel like you guys owe us, right? The lesbians were there for you during HIV and AIDS, and you had no support from the government or anybody else, and you were ostracized, and we took care of you, and we fought for you. So now it was time.
Yeah, they were your angels.
Your turn. Yeah.
I'll tell you what'll get their attention is the United States Supreme Court. Clarence has already said, I'm going after this case, and this case. And the last one on the list is Lawrence v. Texas. And when that's overturned, they're not going to have a legal right to have sex with anybody. With any kind of male. It's going to be gone. And he's got that on his list.
What does
of
Grindr
things
look
of
like
rights
after
we're gonna
that?
lose.
There is no grinder after that.
Ooh.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a grinder, but then we would be going back in the closet.
The closet.
And
Yep.
it's just crazy.
Yep.
But we're going backwards in a lot of scenarios right now,
Yes.
Cindy. So I'm not surprised there either.
I know.
I think when we're educating ourselves, like we have all just said around this table about this particular topic, and we can bring now what Rosemary said,
Right.
About the right to privacy, and then it's our responsibility to educate the men in our lives
Yeah.
and say, this is why this is important to us,
Yes.
and it has to be important to you because you have sisters
Yes.
and maybe daughters and nieces and friends.
And you're next on the list.
And,
Right.
and then
Rosemary's
drop
like,
the
forget it.
gauntlet.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, no,
Rosemary's like,
Rosemary's going for the juggler.
Yes, but she's true. For some
No, right?
boys, it might just be that they might not give a crap
Right.
about us, and we've got to be okay with that,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know. But once you mention to them, hey, you might be next, you might not be able to have sex in your own damn house.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
Don't
They're all
come crying to me.
Then maybe they'll be
Right,
out there fighting. Then
exactly.
and it might be too late by then.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, let's lighten things up.
Please, please.
So let's queer up entertainment. Woo! The fun and sexy A League of Their Own is here. I am so excited. Amazon has finally released a trailer for their upcoming A League of Their Own series, and it looks like it will be a home run. The show is coming out in just 2 weeks, and it looks like it captures the fun of the original movie based on the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, while also shedding more light on the racial and sexist challenge women in sports faced in the 40s and 50s. It wasn't until 1972 when President Richard Nixon enacted Title IX protections that women were allowed to play sports on the college and professional level nationwide. And so the first forays into women's athletics, like the AAG PBL, opened the doors for so many sports-minded individuals to compete. The inspiration of the original movie has said most of the women's league players were lesbian. These women paved the way for superstars like Megan Rapinoe, Billie Jean King, and others.
Abby Wambach. Abby Wambach. Abby Wambach.
Abby Wambach.
Ah!
Tina Navratilova.
Listen, they
so
still
many.
struggle in pay,
Yeah.
ladies, and Abby leads
Yeah.
the way in fighting the good fight for that. But I am so freaking excited for this. I
am
cannot
too.
freaking wait. Like, how can you not be excited by that trailer? And I have been saying for the last 20 years or however long it's been since that movie first came out, there's no crying in baseball.
There's no crying
So
in
I
baseball.
can't wait
My
to
favorite,
hear
my
some
favorite
good
was
dialogue.
Marla Hooch. What a hitter! God, but think about it. This movie, it was just so amazing, and it was so gay for its time. I get it that it wasn't, it wasn't a storyline, but I mean, Gina Davis, right?
Yes.
Rosie.
Beauty.
Madonna,
Rosie
Rosie
before she was
O'Donnell.
crazy. You
Right?
remember Rosie before
I was
she
going to
was
say that
crazy?
was the last one
right?
before she got
Then
crazy.
Madonna and Rosie had like that sexual kind of funny friendship thing going on,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it was just such a great movie. And then
Yeah.
Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
literally
He did a great job.
was a great support, but never overshadowed any other women.
Right.
And the crazy woman that played Kit, what's her name? She's with the girl with the eyes. Lori Petty.
Lori Petty.
Lori
yeah.
Petty. I mean, they just had such great people, And I'm for one that always says that a lot of things from the past shouldn't be redone. But this was something that I think it took this long because they needed to do it right.
Yes.
Right.
The racial undertones needed to be told. I love that
Absolutely.
this character, her name is Max, she's got to go and, she's black and she wants to play. And she has an arm better than most of the white women that were there and they wouldn't let her play.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So she's got to dress up like a boy and play in another league. I can't wait to see this.
Well, the best part of this is it's not another movie. It's a series.
Yeah.
So
More than one showing.
I know, more than one.
Love
And,
it.
you know, just a little while ago, the woman that is played by Madonna in the movie came out. She had never publicly come out before, and I think she's in her
She's like 104.
90s. Yeah. And she just came out. And, you know, this series is honoring her
Aw, love that.
as much as the rest of those women. I don't know how many of them are still with us, but
Right.
I think she was the last one. The last time I did.
and
the
I'm so
research on
glad she's able to see it
Yeah.
Yeah.
happen.
I am also excited, but what really struck me in that story, which has nothing to do with baseball, is that Richard Nixon
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
president
You believe that?
that signed this into law.
Yeah.
And when you think of, granted, I know Watergate happened.
Didn't he have a daughter though?
Two.
Didn't he
I
have
have
a
Two daughters. But I'm
That's
saying
why.
the Republican Party has gone so just haywire is the only way I can think of
it.
it.
Shit, you can say.
Right.
Yeah.
So that I don't know why. That just struck me like, oh,
No, but,
Richard Nixon did
yeah.
that.
but think about that. They had to sign these laws to let women play in sports. And right
Right.
now we're fighting for trans women to play in sports. And
And
we have idiots like Trump saying
Right.
you can't let men play in women's sports, you know? And that probably somebody was saying that back then. We can't let women in men's sports.
Oh no, probably.
You know?
Absolutely.
You know, I'm not sure how many people realize how many restrictions women had on them into the 70s.
Right.
We couldn't have a bank account without a man
Exactly.
signing.
You couldn't buy a
That's
car, you couldn't buy a home, you couldn't get a loan, you couldn't
You could get
have your own bank
committed
account.
for any kind of not normal
Your husband
behavior.
could sign off to
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, how far off are we from there now? Okay, we have no rights over our own reproductive systems.
Well,
I mean, come
what's
on.
happening is it's going back.
It's going
around.
backwards.
I mean,
Yeah.
society operates in a pendulum.
That's so true.
And we have, for the last maybe couple decades, we have moved that pendulum pretty far.
Yeah. In our favor.
In our favor,
Yeah.
yes. And I believe we're experiencing the swing
Like a course correction.
to the other side.
Mm.
And it will swing back again. I
Sure.
don't know how long it will take. I might not still be
Oh,
alive.
damn.
But
I don't
you
know. I think
Lexi, you'll be alive.
I don't know. I think
hopefully.
our job is to stop it from swinging.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's already
And how
Well,
did-
I mean, the
how did you
fact
do
that it
Rosemary?
started is a call to say, okay, now you
we
need
got to
to do.
nip it in the bud.
Now you need to stand up once again, you know, and let everybody know these are your rights and you want them. You know, you don't wait till it gets over here. You got to stop it over here.
I love those signs at rallies that say, I can't believe in this day and age I still have to protest this shit. Right? Like, that's what it makes me think of,
Well,
right?
and do like what you and Cindy did when SAVE was trying to pass the ordinance. You're like up on Saturday mornings, you know,
knocking on
on
doors.
doors.
on doors.
Remember,
You
and
know.
cutting turf. Do you remember those days we drive around and
Oh
cut
my
the turf?
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
when you go through the maps and you select areas.
Designate.
What are maps?
Hey, we didn't even have smartphones back then.
No.
So
But-
we did it the old school way.
So this is why midterm elections are so important,
Right.
because of what Rosemary's saying,
That's
to keep
right.
holding on to that pendulum and not letting it come back. You know, a lot of people kind of wash their hands about when it came to politics when marriage equality passed. They were like,
Right.
okay, I'm done. I don't
done.
got to do anything else. Ya terminé. That's it. And no, that's not the case at all. So now we let these Republicans, we let these right-wing people kind of slip in that weren't supporting the LGBTQ plus community on a local level, and this is where we're at.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a little tangent off of A League of Their Own. I'm so happy.
I apologize for bringing Tricky
No,
Dick
that's
into the
okay.
conversation.
It's
Oh, that's where it
At a
goes.
table
It's
of
very
lesbians.
important.
We are at a table of lesbians. We
Right.
get to talk about whatever the hell we want. And I'm sitting in this chair today, right? So we get to talk about whatever comes up. So
So much for
You be
lightening
you.
it up.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of levity in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
Okay, let's queer up gay culture. Survey shows in LGBTQ news, only 1 in 10 stories are about lesbians versus gay men. It's 2022, not 1992, and there's a lot to celebrate over lesbian visibility and representation both inside and outside the LGBT community. GLAAD, for example, reported that in 2022, it was the first year in history that lesbians outnumbered gay men among broadcast television's LGBTQ characters. GLAAD, quote, where we are on TV, end quote, report found queer women represented 40% of all TV characters, while queer men were only 35%. Another example is a new study published in the Journal of Social Psychology and Personality Science, exploring the attitudes towards non-heterosexual men and women in 23 Western and non-Western countries. It found that lesbians are more accepted than gay men around the world. Of course, we're way cuter. We would wonder if that same visibility was happening in our own reporting. A new survey conducted by Happening Out Television Network found that those type of successes did not continue for lesbians in key areas that shapes attitudes on the LGBTQ plus community. That area is reporting news and stories about the lesbian community. Happening Out Television surveyed leading LGBTQ plus media, including Out Magazine, The Advocate, Queerity, LGBTQ Nation, Pink News, SFGN, Bay Area Reporter, The Washington Blade, and other top LGBTQ media publications in print and online, including the networks of our own daily news program, Queer News Tonight. The results were surprising, but perhaps they were not surprising. Almost without exception, for every 9 stories that were done about gay men, only 1 story focused on a lesbian story or a lesbian community. Some did slightly better, many did worse. UCLA Williams Institute suggests that when you combine lesbians and women who define themselves as bisexual, women are actually the largest number of representation in the LGBTQ plus community. The results on why LGBTQ plus media reports and reflects the male perspective of our community nearly 10 times that of women shows a much greater issue to address. Some platform numbers were 1 in 20 stories. 2 gay-dominated sites with 1 gay lesbian story in 50 gay stories.
Wow. Jeez.
Commenting on broadcast television representation results for lesbians this year, GLAAD President and CEO Sarah Kate Ellis told NBC News, quote, "So to see women be so front and center is a fine sign for me that there is progress, that we are moving forward," end quote. So while this survey shows non-scientific results, suggests that misogyny goes on in the queer community, just as it does in the broad American society, that surprise that a marginalized group would marginalize another group of our community is a surprise. I don't
Not a surprise.
agree. I don't agree.
You're not surprised. You're not
I'm not
surprised.
surprised.
Rosemary.
No, I am not surprised. I think one of the big surprises to me when I first started doing social justice activism, especially for the gay community, was that the men had their own standards.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't apply to women. They didn't care about the women. You know, we are the guys. We are controlled. We have the white privilege coming out our ears, especially as gay men.
Out their butts, but yes.
Well, I was
She was trying
I
to
think they had other things in their butts at the time. But needless to say,
Ladies. Needless to say,
the women were not being given any credit or any support. Meanwhile, we're out there, you know,
in the front lines.
doing
Right.
What Cindy was talking about before the
Socializing.
show was that like the heads of some major companies, right, are all women led right
Well,
now.
Organizations, the
The
LGBT
leaders of
organizations.
major national
The task
organizations,
force.
the National LGBTQ Task Force, HRC,
Mhm.
GLAAD, you
Led
know,
by
they're
women.
all run
Led by women.
by lesbians.
Lesbians.
Yeah.
that's because they're gay. If you look at national corporations,
Right.
the ones led by women have their names changed. H&R Block, H&R is a woman. She doesn't want anybody to know that.
I did not
Dick's.
know
Wow.
that.
You learned
Dick's-
something now.
Dick's
Sporting
Sporting Goods, one of the country's largest.
Don't tell me her name is Victoria.
I don't know, is the CEO, the woman is in charge of it, owns the company.
Right.
All
And
the
they
top
don't-
level management.
Yeah, all top level management. And so they don't want anybody to know that
Okay.
because their clientele are
A lot of
Men.
Yeah.
So do we want to stay in the shadows to protect ourselves because it's a man's world, so to speak? I mean, is that why all these stories are not being done about us and our community or the L?
So that was my question, like why?
Yeah.
So is it because the decision makers about what gets reported on, right, are mostly men? Or is it because we're not as exciting or titillating?
We're exciting.
Lesbians are vanilla, a lot of people say, or we nest, right? So we stop going out and we build families, and not that gay men don't do that, right? But at a much lower rate than we do.
Right.
And is it because we're just not out there, like shouting from the rooftops?
I mean,
but I think it doesn't really matter why, right? It's an issue that needs to be addressed, and I think it's necessary mainly because otherwise you heard it, right? So 40% of characters are lesbian, while 35% are gay men in fictional situations, not the news shows, right? So why is that important? Because we need to be able to have some kind of impact on what I call the L word effect, right?
Yeah.
So, this is what a lesbian looks like and sounds like, but stereotypes don't help us, right?
At all.
So we've got to figure out a way to get our stories front and center just as much as the gay men. And what does that mean? Do we need to take leadership positions not only in
the media.
advocacy organizations, but also
Hey, but look,
the
right
media?
here,
Media companies are run by men.
right here at Queer News Tonight, we put it right in the story as well.
Yes,
that we've also done the same thing. Okay, I am like the lesbian of Queer News Tonight.
Right.
Okay, and on my own show, the FayWhat Show, Monday mornings at 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in. And when I'm looking for lesbian content, I have to tell you, ladies, that it's hard to find some.
Sure.
Okay, I was very proud to do a morning talk show led by a lesbian. Nobody's doing that.
No.
But I wanted to talk about our issues. But the reality is that a lot of that substance is not out there for me to find and bring into my shows.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
So why is that?
Yeah.
Are we trying to be passable? Are we trying not to
In some cases,
shake
I think
anything up?
yes. Yeah, I mean, I think in some cases, yes. Like, I recognize personally, I have a lot of privilege, right? I'm a white woman. I actually was married to a man and had 2 children, so I pass as a straight white mom. Somebody called me a soccer mom. So
You're more like a yoga mom, but I
right?
get it.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. But yeah, I think we've got to be the ones who push that out there, right? Because in the past, it's been very easy for us to just kind of hang back and pass and avoid violence, right? And going back to the earlier story that we were talking about, with our rights being attacked and things like that, we talk a lot on this show about how the more visibility that we have, the more under siege or under attack we become, right, from the religious right. And I think that that's part of the fear that holds us back from also being public figures.
Right.
I know that when we were fighting for the gay rights ordinance,
Right.
and a television reporter came up to me, and he said, we're covering what you're doing. We're outside Commission chambers. The right wing was over there praying circles and threatening to shoot us.
Right.
It was like,
It was crazy.
it was
Unbelievable.
It was a scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a scene. And so he comes up to me and he says, we need to interview somebody from the gay side so that, we can show them, and then we're going to show what he
And
did
you
say.
were
The
vice
crazy
chair of
people.
Save
So
It.
you're like, I'm here.
I'm the
Interview me.
co-chair of SAVE. And he
co-chair.
says, so we need to interview somebody gay. I said, okay, well, that would be me. I'm the co-chair of SAVE. And he says, oh, no, but you just look like somebody's mom.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, I am somebody's mom. I have a beautiful daughter,
Lesbian.
Yeah. But if you want to talk to somebody, you need to talk to me.
Yeah, those things are not
I mean, it was
mutually
just like,
exclusive
for you.
But again, going back to the stereotypes that also hinder us.
Yes.
Right.
right.
So
Right.
if
And I'm thinking, if I was at that rally again, how would I change the way I look
Right.
to say I'm a lesbian? I'm out here No,
Butch it up,
you're
Rosemary. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Butch it up.
I know. I maybe should have mohawk.
Well, and something also that I'm thinking about, and Lexi and I can attest to this being board members for the Aqua Foundation for Women, which was conceived because of these issues that are still going on.
Right.
Alicia Apfel, brilliant activist and attorney in the community, she's thought, with all the help that we gave the men during the HIV/AIDS crisis, and gladly we did that.
Yes.
But she's like, I don't need the whole banana cream pie, but I want a slice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how she originally, thought and founded Aqua. And to this day, and Rosemary and I have these discussions frequently as, the acting ED of Aqua, our main program has always been our scholarship program. And I can't get a man interested in giving scholarships to LGBTQ women to save my life. And I can sell ice to a goddamn Eskimo, okay? But it's just not
That's
there.
absolutely true.
That's
You know?
really unfortunate.
I know, and and the reality of the
puzzling.
situation is
It's really
that's where the money is.
Yeah.
The men
Yeah.
have, the older men, have more disposable income.
Yeah.
And so we're thinking about bringing Aqua men back because I need to get in front of like 10 men and say, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I
Why?
mean, yeah.
What are we
Okay, so here's a question, ladies, all right? If the men are maybe not helping us and marginalizing us in an already marginalized community, are we doing the same thing to the T?
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. 100%. So that's where my mind was going as you were talking. So I think it's one of those situations, right, where at the end of the day, like, who gets to draw the line, right? So, okay, now I'm accepted and screw you, next
Right,
one down,
exactly.
right? Like
Because that's what the G is kind of
Yes.
doing to us.
That's
Right.
what happens. That's what happens. And you see it in every community that achieves their civil rights or whatever, and then they marginalize the next group of people.
Right.
So it's unfortunate, but I think it's human.
Well, I think too, when we were very successful with SAVE, we beat the bushes looking for trans
Oh, yeah.
people.
We did.
I mean, and I think we found one person who came to one meeting.
Yeah, I think back then we also were facing trans folks who were like, we don't want to associate
Yeah.
with the gay community. We're
Yeah.
trans. We just want to live our lives. We
Right.
don't
I'm
wanna-
not
You don't want to
gay.
be visible.
I'm not gay.
I'm not gay,
a
so
lesbian.
why do I have
Wow.
anything
You
to do
know,
with them? And
and-
they didn't understand, yes, you're not gay, but you really could use the support of people who understand the kind of
struggle.
discrimination you're suffering.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was just really, really, it was impossible.
But that was back then. How about now?
Yeah, but see, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering now. Okay, that was what, 30 years ago, 20 years ago? How old are we?
1998.
1998.
But you worked on it for 5 years previous
Yeah.
to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was
almost
20
30
years.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think
say we
I
made
think what
strides,
happened,
but-
and I'm hoping this is correct, is that trans people formed their own groups
Right.
and are protecting themselves. I'm hoping that's what happened, because nobody in the trans community that I'm aware of comes to us and says, "Can you help us?" And we
We were
could,
looking for
and we
that.
would.
But I do think that time has changed significantly since then, although it did take another how many years to get the trans added to the county human rights ordinance.
Yeah.
Funny story. I had a horrific surgery that day. I was in surgery for 11 hours.
Whoa.
And when I finally woke up, I could barely speak because they had that thing down my. And I said to Michelle, who was there with me, who's my ex, I said, "Did it pass?"
Oh.
They were the first words out of my mouth, and I was so happy that it passed because, I believe that anything that goes before, like the state legislature or any body, has to be inclusive. If
Right.
it's not inclusive, it shouldn't go.
Yeah.
I hear so many people saying, well, we got to get a little bit at a time. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
A little bit at a time is done. We can't leave anybody behind.
Well, what do you
I
say
think
to the
we're
people
there
that
now.
say if we leave the T behind, we will get
Well, that's what
farther in
happened
this
with-
fight right now?
That's what
say you're
happened with
wrong.
ENDA, right?
I would
So
say, I don't
the
care.
Employment Non-Discrimination Act
Yeah.
that we attempted to get passed They pulled the T out at the last minute, and it divided us all, and then it didn't pass because
it still didn't
we
pass.
were so divisive, right? And so we have to remember that as a group and united, we're stronger than we would ever be separately.
We can't leave anybody behind anymore.
Yeah.
We can't.
Yep.
Leave no letter behind.
That's right.
Right, there you go.
All right. Next, let's queer up lesbian culture. JoJo Siwa slammed for saying she doesn't like the word lesbian. Many fans are upset that queer pop singer JoJo Siwa has stated that she doesn't like the word lesbian. She has stated that she loves dressing girly, and to her, the word lesbian is often associated with masculine women or tomboys. Recently, she said that she just prefers to call herself gay, saying of the term lesbian, quote, "I don't like the word itself. It's just like a lot. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I am. It's like the word moist. It's just like, ugh." End quote. Many fans and former fans have reacted to that statement on the internet, slamming her for showing disgust for the word and saying she should have just stated she identified as gay or queer and left it at that.
A lot of people think that I put on a face to the world or I put on an act for the world, but I really did just share who I was with the world. If the world would have worked out for me to come out sooner, then I totally would have, but I never felt a need to. I never even really, I guess, realized that I was gay until I realized I was gay, you know? It's not about being comfortable for me with being the face of the LGBTQ young demographic, young age, younglings. It's about being honored with that. It's something that I've been appointed by, not myself, by just the world, calling me a gay icon, calling me this generation's icon. That is an honor that I do not take lightly any day. I am most unapologetic about who I am, about who I love, about what I think, what I feel. I'm just now realizing that I don't need other people's approval to cut my hair. You can be queer and be girly. I think that's a thing, is a lot of times lesbians are taken to be masculine. If you're a lesbian, you're supposed to be, do you want to be a boy? That's not the case. There are plenty of very feminine lesbians. I don't like the word itself. It's just like lesbian. It's just like a lot. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I am. So it's like, it just is, it's like the word moist. It's just like, ugh. It's really cool being a teen idol at this age. I'm only 19, and to have millions of people all around the world look up to me, want to be like me, I mean, that just is a feeling that you can't even explain. When people say bad things about you, it's never fun to hear. I'm unfortunately used to it from being on the internet for so long.
Listen, this little girl brought back so much, and she is so popular. She brought back those big old bows in the hair and everything, and everybody was wearing it before she came out. I loved that she was the person that did the first same-sex dance on Dancing with the Stars. That's actually when I first even heard of the girl, to be completely honest, because I'm not a kid watching Disney or wherever she was on, you know, but you're a lesbian. You're an L, girl. You know, if you want to just say you're a queer, then just say you're queer, and that's it. But don't belittle the word lesbian in the process.
Yeah.
You know,
she said, you know, she said, I'm a kid. Yeah, you're 19 years old. You're a kid.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't have really lived experience
Correct.
yet
Yes.
as a lesbian.
Yes.
And I find her talking about the word that way extremely offensive. And if she's calling herself a role model to young people, she needs to, you know, get over that and apologize.
So I'm wondering what's wrong with a woman being masculine or being a tomboy? Like, why are we shutting out our tomboy girls? Like, that's my type, yo. Like,
That was always my type.
oh my
until I met
God.
Rosemary.
Can we not shame our tomboys? I love them and everything they represent. And so for anyone to say that lesbian indicates that you're masculine and tomboy, and somehow that's bad.
Look at this table.
Like, what?
I mean, look at this table.
Yeah.
I'm the
but that goes back to what Cindy's saying.
I'm the masculine one.
Please, Butchie. And that's going back to like what Cindy's saying. She doesn't have the experiences
Yes.
yet. I read somewhere that somebody was calling her an icon, bitch.
No.
What? Please, come on.
Icons have underwear her age, bitch.
Right?
You're not an icon. You're
I
like
totally
10. Like,
disagree with all of you.
go for it,
okay.
Kat.
I haven't said
Go.
anything.
Put me in my place. I like it.
I haven't heard Rosemary's comment yet. I mean, she's allowed to have her own opinion, and we have to respect that. And that is her experience. And she is not the only person that doesn't like the word lesbian. She's just the only one that's saying it out loud. And this younger generation feels that they, I mean, she's got 12 million follows on social media. She's known worldwide. She is a mega star. And I think it's okay for her to say that she doesn't like the word lesbian, and that if someone may feel like they're a lesbian, but they don't know what that is, or maybe if they don't like the word, then that's okay.
Yeah.
So I agree with you that it's okay for her to voice her opinion about the word. I feel like she needs to stop short of shaming people around how they present, right?
Yes.
But I'll go to the story that we covered last week about the Fort Pierce restaurant owner, Mr. Reed, and his sign. And I shared that story with a ton of people. So I'm not going to tell you. You have to go watch the show from last week. It's the business takeover from last Thursday. But basically, there was a mention of lesbian dinosaurs. So now
like a lot of puss.
Yes. Spoiler alert, Faye.
Everybody knows that joke.
Come on. Yes.
Lesbian dinosaur.
So here's the deal. Like, I got so many varied responses to that, right? Like when I told the joke and I said, have you heard this joke before? No. Okay, what's a lesbian dinosaur? What do you call a lesbian dinosaur? A lickalotopus. And you could see people's reactions like on their faces. And I knew right away, like, ooh, that's not going to go well, right? And it was your wife too. One of them that got right up in my face. And she was like, oh, she was mad.
Wow.
And then there were other people, like I was at the table, Jeff Oliverio was at the table, and we had a great conversation about business owners and, their ability to put whatever they want on their sign and all of that. So I guess it comes back to like, who gets to decide, right? And my rights end where yours begin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, you don't like the word lesbian. You don't have to call yourself that. You can be queer and I say I'm gay all the time. I'm just gay. I'm gay, and so I'm fine with that. If you want to be queer or say you're gay or whatever, just let's stop short of shaming people for how they present.
I say we just start calling her a moist lesbian.
Yes!
Why do people not like
That's what I
that
think we
word?
should
It's
do.
the number one
Same.
most hated word in the English language.
Why?
Moist.
Moist.
Just take that in.
I like
Also, you know what's number two, which has nothing to do with anything?
Donald Trump.
Slacks.
Oh.
slacks.
Yeah. So just think about that later.
I'm so out of touch. I don't know.
I'm wearing slacks.
Slacks.
So what do you think about
Moist
it,
slacks.
Rosemary?
I'm wearing moist slacks.
I think she has the absolute right to say she doesn't like the word lesbian.
Yeah.
She can't shame people who do, however.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly right. And I think that, for whatever, I don't know that we've come to the place where lesbian doesn't immediately, in people's mind, present a masculine image. I don't know that
What
we've...
about lipstick lesbians?
Well, why are they called lipstick lesbians?
Because they're different
Because
from
the word
the regular
lesbian
lesbian.
Would
No,
not
see,
be a
I
lipstick.
that's my whole point, Cindy.
Yeah.
And I don't
That's
know.
why we have butch, femme, right? We have STEM, we have stud, right?
BOI, we have all kinds.
Yes,
Right. And they're describing lesbian,
correct.
Well, I'm still a tomboy at 60. So
No, I love
call me
that.
No.
lesbian.
Oh,
I know we were campaigning for I think it was the human rights ordinance, and some people had come down because we had a lot of political interaction from people around the country because it was the first really big job that was going on like this around the country. And some people were down from, I think, like New Hampshire, Connecticut, someplace like that.
Lesbians.
Lesbians. came down. And so we were all going out to dinner, and we were going to meet them and, talk to them. And a lot of people were modeling what we were doing from around the country. So this couple comes down. And as we're walking into the restaurant, one of them says to me, I just think it's so great that you can dress the way you want to dress. No, I had a skirt. I might have had a suit on, but I had a skirt and jacket, and whoever I was with was also dressed in a dress. And I said, what do you mean I can dress the way? She said, well, I mean, you can dress in a dress.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I said, can you not dress in a dress?
Right.
And she said, absolutely not. She said, if I'm going to be a lesbian, I have to dress like a man.
Oh, that makes me think of that.
And that,
that's so
and
sad.
I'm like, really? And she said, yes, we're all very in the closet. And I think this was like someplace in Connecticut. And we have a gay bar. And so to go to the gay bar, though, you have to be dressed like a man. Oh, it's a women's bar.
Yeah.
It's a women's bar. Wow. But if you want to be attractive to another Connecticut lesbian,
right,
you got to dress like a man.
Yeah.
And I said, listen,
That's ridiculous.
I hope that you learn a lot and you take a lot home. I said, because we can dress any way we want.
Right.
Right? Our clothes are not who we are.
Yeah.
And I hope that you can take that message back,
Right.
that you people feel that you have to wear, what she said, jeans and a flannel shirt.
Oh, yeah. Stereotypes.
Wow.
It makes me
If I
think
want to
of-
go out and socialize with my friends, I have to wear jeans and a flannel shirt.
And a mullet. You have to get
a
have
mullet.
The girl mullet.
You remember the movie If These Walls Could Talk?
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So there was a story right in the middle of that where there was a lesbian who was presenting very masculine
In the feminist
and
movement.
binding, yes, and they were shaming her, like, we don't have to dress like
They
that
rejected
anymore,
her,
and they
yeah.
rejected her. So interesting.
I can
That's
see
an
how that could be
interesting story.
ingrained in someone's mind.
Yeah, but I love right now, like it's super expensive, let me tell you, but I can dress either way. And I have just kind of come into that fully where, like, when I first realized that I was gay, I went to the Goodwill and I tried on a man's suit. And I was sweating like profusely and having an anxiety attack in the dressing room. Because those societal norms or whatever were so ingrained, right? But now as a 48-year-old woman, I go to Express and I shop in the men's department. And look, I look amazing.
Yes, you do.
But also on Saturday, I'm going to wear a prom dress and heels. So I love that being able to go back and forth. So
I felt so bad for these two girls. I mean, I think that was the first thing I was just so sad for them.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, you guys, unless you take that step forward, and they're like, well, how do you do it? I said, listen,
You just do it.
yeah.
you got to do it. I mean, we did it in a community that hated gays, that had a anti-gay ordinance. I said, your town doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Your state doesn't have that.
Yep.
All right, so you're already 2 steps ahead of where we were.
Right.
I said, but you just got to do it.
Go be you.
No
Go
one's
be
going to
you.
give you permission. You
Live
just
your
have
best
to
life.
do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So should we get on to the next story, ladies?
Yeah.
All right. Now we queer up health. Here is a major breakthrough on fertility treatment for lesbian couples. The United Kingdom's National Health Service has lifted major financial barriers to assessing fertility funding. Previously, lesbian couples had to go through several rounds of intrauterine insemination that could cost thousands of dollars before they could be considered for NHS-funded IVF. Heterosexual couples only had to state they had been trying to conceive for 2 years prior to being approved. No surprise there. Marta Jansa Perez, the director of embryology at London's BPAS fertility clinic, said, quote, "We are absolutely delighted that the government has committed to removing discriminatory barriers to IVF for female same-sex couples. Fertility services are crucial in supporting the development of different family structures. However, our research has found that female same-sex couples and single women are disproportionately impacted by policies which require that they self-finance costly and less effective artificial insemination. In some cases, for at least 2 years before becoming eligible for funded IVF," end quote.
I don't know. Tomatoes, the turkey basters are really inexpensive.
I was wondering that. I guess if you have like,
Have they gone up in price?
if you have,
A little bit because of inflation, Rosemary, but not bad. You can get a
if you
free
have
pack on
socialized
Amazon for like
medicine,
$10.
you don't do the turkey baster
Right.
I guess I don't know.
And, as my bestie Carol Shipman says, in England, but I mean, good for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
or maybe
that's
they don't-
great.
Yeah, or maybe they don't have gay boy best friends or anything that could supply them with
Well,
stuff they need.
I've had a
Some people
lot of
don't want to
friends.
do that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you
Can complicate
involve
things.
somebody else and you
Right,
complicate
they
a
want
friendship,
anonymous.
There's so
etc.
many legalities
There's a lot of
Right.
involved.
I would say I feel like Europe overall is advanced compared to us in terms of what they provide, what insurance covers, right? And I was reading the article and I felt like this was apt, and I was sad it didn't get into our comments, so I'm going to add it here. But they called it a gay tax, which I thought was really
Oh, that's
descriptive and
awful.
very fitting.
Like you have to pay those 2 years of all that
Right.
IVF out of pocket to prove to us that you really want to be a parent.
Yeah, and there was a couple that was quoted in the article as saying, you know, it was the very first time that we had ever felt sad about being gay,
Right.
right? So, so I think it's a huge step forward for them. I think that we should probably pay attention.
Now, how are things here in the U.S.? I've never
Well,
tried
the
to have a
government
child.
doesn't pay for anything
No,
in the U.S.
no,
They have
their healthcare
universal
system
health
is different. Yeah.
Okay.
in the
UK.
So that,
The
you know,
NHS.
Yes.
yeah, they won't,
Basically
it wouldn't
social-
happen.
Here it wouldn't happen. Here it's
No,
out
they
of
would
pocket. You're
never
on your own.
Exactly.
Turkey basters for everybody.
Yeah.
But I've had friends that have used turkey basters. I've had friends that they just order, you know, the sperm
Yeah.
from the California Cryo Bank, and they just take it to their OBGYN and they, you know, insert it without any IVF or anything like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
that's the
understand
ideal
that
way.
some women
Right.
have trouble conceiving.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, you know, that would be those couples.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm so glad that they passed this. You know, making
Yeah.
parents jump through extra hoops and
Not
extra
fair.
hurdles when all they want to do is just have a wonderful family.
Yeah.
Right. What I loved about what the director said was that, you know, that it's so great because they're forming different families,
Right.
you know, and we need that.
Yeah.
Right.
We do.
Exactly.
All
Good,
right.
nice story.
Yeah.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m. with more than 30,000 watching every week.
Hello everyone, it's Pam Ann here, international air hostess to the stars and beyond. Coming from Miami Beach, the Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Mwah!
Yes, I'll take that kiss. Mwah, I love those glasses, darling. So that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor on this special lesbian edition of Queer News Tonight, FayWhat? And on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, these incredible L's, baby, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Karen Costello-Wilder, Cindy Brown, Lexi Goza, and the other Wilder at the table, Miss Rosemary Wilder. Thank you very much for giving us a place at your table this evening. We will see you on the next lesbian edition of Queer News Tonight. And we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you good night.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire